What's the difference between stress and anxiety? And if stress is so bad for our health, how do we avoid it? Let's talk about that. So welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time, I'm Tim Box. I'm a mind coach, and for more than a decade now, I've been working with people to help them overcome all sorts of emotional and psychological issues, and in particular, helping them get control of anxiety. One of the most common questions I get asked in my Friday live streams is how we differentiate between anxiety and stress. We get told a lot these days about the long-term negative effects that prolonged periods of stress can have on our health, potentially contributing to heart disease, stomach issues, and even autoimmune conditions. So how do we know if we're getting too stressed or are just plain anxious? Okay, so this is actually a very simple distinction. Anxiety is the emotion and stress is the physical response to that emotion. So to clarify, when something presents itself to our subconscious as important enough to warrant our conscious attention, anxiety is the emotion that our mind will trigger to get our attention. That feeling of just not being able to stop thinking about a certain situation, problem, or possible occurrence, that's anxiety. So yes, it's anxiety that keeps us awake worrying about tomorrow's meeting, but it's also anxiety that makes sure we turn up to that meeting on time and have prepped our work adequately. So like all emotions, anxiety isn't always negative, and in fact, its intent is firmly pointed towards a positive result. But it's a common and understandable mistake to frame it as malevolent or harmful. In truth, anxiety isn't actually harmful at all. It might often get portrayed as the villain of the story, but like all good stories, all is not as it might at first seem. Oftentimes, the feeling that we call anxiety, the one we hate and maybe even fear, is in fact the stress response, also known as fight or flight. Fight or flight is the physical response to the anxious thought. So when something is being flagged up in our mind as important enough to warrant a heightened amount of attention, that thing might feel in some way threatening. Our body might then respond to that threat. Our heart rate increases, our blood pumps faster, our breathing quickens, and our muscles start to tense up. Our body is pumping cortisol and adrenaline to get us ready for immediate life-saving action. So when we physically feel ourselves getting anxious, that's actually stress, not anxiety. This is why when we're going through periods of high anxiety and regularly triggering the physical stress response, we'll very often find ourselves physically exhausted at the end of the day, and sometimes even at the start of it. This is the natural fatigue we feel from extended periods in fight or flight mode. It isn't the anxiety itself that wears us out, it's the stress response. The reason why doctors tell us to avoid stress is because although the ability to enter a fight or flight state can be of great value to a human being when they're under physical threat, we're not meant to remain in that mode long term. It's designed as a moment of life-saving action, not an ongoing state. It's the physical toll of protracted periods of stress that ultimately can cause us some degree of damage in the long term. However, this doesn't mean we now need to start feeling anxious about our stress levels. Yes, stress can be harmful, and if we recognize we live a stressful existence such as pressurized working environment or a chaotic home life, then we might understandably be feeling concerned about our long-term health. However, stress isn't something that just happens to us. It's actually something we do. It might have seemed like something outside of our control and more about our environment than our actions, but the truth is almost the exact opposite. In the next video that I'll be putting up in a few days, I'm going to be explaining how we stop doing stress and as a result get back in control of our long-term physical well-being. So what's the message of this video? Okay, I see a lot of clients who've started to fixate on the idea that their stress levels are doing them long-term damage. They're getting anxious about that, and it's the anxiety about their health that then causes them to become even more stressed, sending them down that ever-descending spiral. However, the good news here is that as amazing and at times life-saving as the fight or flight response is, your body has an even greater and more miraculous natural ability, and that's the ability to heal. Our body's ability to heal any damage we take is pretty extraordinary. As soon as something harms us in any way, our body sets about the task of repairing the damage. And if we can leave it to do that undisturbed, it'll often do that work faster than we might expect. Once we take ourselves out of the fight or flight mode and free ourselves from the effects of stress, it's surprising how quickly we can start to feel physically better as our body goes about the amazing but natural process of healing. So make sure you check out the next video, which is all about eliminating the stress response from our daily existence, so we don't have to feel any anxiety about our long-term health and well-being. Guys, I hope this video has been of value. Please hit that thumbs up button, and if you like what I do, why not subscribe to the channel for weekly mind management tips and anxiety advice. Remember, I'm also now doing a weekly live Q&A every Friday at 6 p.m. London time, where you can ask me your anxiety-related questions, so please join me for that. Also, you can now become a member of this channel and receive extra content every week, including video tutorials of my full system for change with extra insights and exclusive weekly live streams. Just hit the join button on the homepage. But that's it for now. I'm Tim Box, Mind Coach. Always remember to be kind to your mind, and I'll see you next time.